Anyone have any questions on items that maybe didn't get, or questions on items I did?
Okay.
Nicole, we're sending you a copy.
Thank you.
Like next copy?
Yes, please.
I have two naive questions. Do nonprofits book depreciation?
If they, generally, yes, not-for-profit organizations prepare the financial statements in accordance with general accepted accounting principles, they are required to vote.
Which I saw you did. Second, there's a compilation and there's an audit.
Yes.
This is an audit.
Correct.
Did you do random checks here and there to see that things are consistent?
Yeah,
Pull a bank statement, look at some checks, see how it was booked
Yes,
versus.
as part of our audit, we do make a number of different samples.
That's what I meant.
So, like, for example, bank reconciliations. So for bank reconciliation, for example, what we would do is our concern there is the cash on hand at the end of the year properly accounted for. So what we're sampling are subsequent transactions to make sure that checks cleared in 2018, if they were written in 2017, that they were properly reported. Well, expense samples, for example, make a sample of expenditures, verify that the district's internal controls are followed with respect to controls that are in place surrounding expenditures, that we're supporting documentation for the underlying transaction, and that the canceled check agrees to transaction as reported. We make samples like that throughout your financial activities. We'll do samples, for accounts receivables.
I said
samples of
two
property
questions.
purchases.
I'm sorry. I said two questions and I have a third. You were kind enough to explain it in front end, so thank you. If I understood, the income is 2 million, the net, is it, the district isn't very good financially.
I think the district's in strong financial conditions.
Questions? All right, I'll motion to accept the audit as presented.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed?
Where's my wilderness?
Right.
We keep getting on her.
And then reach back here and make sure she's still on. Okay, thank you guys.
You bet, thank you.
I know you guys have a letter that we need to sign.
We do, we will, you don't need to sign it today. We've most recently been communicating with Rachel. We will email a Word document, which is the letter to Rachel, for her to put on their letterhead. And then she sent an email that we gave her. We'll send that to her tomorrow, once we receive that back. Maybe the audit will be able to issue the
Time frame on it.
we will give it to you either the day or the day after we get the representation. So if we get that representation letter back tomorrow, for example, we would provide you a PDF tomorrow or Monday. You do have a filing requirement, filed by the first. So this is Tuesday. So,
Jerry, you got that? Thank you guys very much.
You bet, thank you, and again, we appreciate the opportunity to serve as your auditors.
Next item will be water and wastewater report.
John, you want to, Ryan, want to get started?
Yeah, Ryan needs to plug a couple things in. You don't want me to plug them in when we
I just want to go through, and I'll turn it over to you, John. Ryan. Okay. So, crew, we get some more nameplate, they're at 54,000 feet now, and we try to get about 70,000 feet, 78,000 feet done in a year. That's a third new system. Lift stations, the monthly maintenance was down, station 1 had a problem. We weren't able to remove the blockage, but they were clear the line. We wanted to schedule that work for early morning hours when the flow is down. So that work's being scheduled right now. The wastewater plant, BOD, is out of compliance. This is why we're building a new plant. State inspected the wastewater department. They had minor recommendations. They thought it was pretty good. Our crew actually worked at the new facility. We trenched in 500 feet of conduit with 8 feet. We did that in-house. We have to send a courier to Denver every time we send samples, because you guys cannot seem to deliver our samples in a timely manner. They're time sensitive. So we're going to get trying every week to go over samples. Water department, well levels were checked. Car iron names and hours are complete. Valve exercising, cleaning is ongoing. Lead and copper sampling is completed. And anyone who has participated in that requires participation by our citizens. We really appreciate your participation. Without you, it would be very difficult to accomplish. So thank you very much. Backwash tanks were checked. We're looking for presence of filter media, no losing media, everything looked good. Condition was good. Flows in the distribution system, the hot, dry weather. We had peaks of 1.9 MGD. That's about what we're producing a day. It's good to have some rain to give us some relief from that. Meridian Service Metro District built a new plant, a new pump station. This will deliver water from the Guthrie wells as well as a jointly owned facility. We deliver water to their wastewater or to their water treatment plant. Before we've been treating that water for them and wheeling it. Obviously, compensates for that, but we'll be able to use our facilities exclusively for our water needs. As soon as they get that online, they hope to have it operational by the end of the month. New construction continues in Courtyards West. We're actually having people start to move in. Training of our new hires continues. I think we have a real good selection of new hires. They're working out very well, very eager. We did have an employee that was hurt on the job. He'll be out for a couple of weeks, be able to return on light duty at that time.
How's he doing?
Doing well. Pain is down. It'll just take a while for things to heal up. He's one-handed until fortunately when it's over, he'll be back to two-handed. So this is John McGinn and Ryan Mangino, and trying to get that right. Where I come from, it's all Petersons and Andersons, so these Italian names. They're going to give a presentation Regional Water Resource Facility. Recovery, water recovery.
Thank you guys for asking us, because no one's asking us in here, so, last time we got to come present. See what we do, and then guys, Hubert audits and bogs, and I think we talk about wastewater, I mean, I can't get into it. But for us, it's pretty exciting stuff. And we can certainly talk about it all night, but we try very much to, this is going to be a very non-technical presentation, to try to just really go over some history, where we are at this point, how we finish off, and so forth. And so, good writing. That, by the way, that first plant, that's an overview of your old plant. That's what it all looked like before we got started. Anyway, guys are new board, so I thought I'd give you a little bit of background. I'm not going to go all the way back to 1988, but I'm going to start in 0809 when the NOV was initially issued, and then ultimately a cease and desist order was issued on that existing lagoon system, which at the time was actually owned by Bainbridge Hills. So I heard that it was transferred to Woodman Hills in '96. That's not really true. It was about 2010, 2011 when it was actually transferred. It was still in Paintbrush's hands at that point, and there was a lot of old battles over the years, and by 2011, Woodman Hills ended up with legal control of the facility. So that's kind of really when your story starts, so to speak. There's certainly background beyond that, but I know you guys are got a heck of an agenda tonight, so we're going to try our best to not get down the weeds. Woodman Hills, promptly after that time, instituted a couple of stopgap measures on the plant, added one of the ponds, go back one line. This pond right here was added back in that time. That wasn't much more than a Band-Aid at the time, a stopgap measure, so feels good. So that was happened, and once Woodman Hills did obtain ownership and control, they initiated some stopgap measures and began negotiations with CDPHE regarding the resolution of your CEO. And hopefully I get my terms out there so I don't leave you in the dust. But if I do leave you in the dust, just put it out, because I can do that pretty easy.
Colorado Department of Health.
It's the health and environment. 2015, it took quite a while. One of your former managers, Gene Cozzolino, worked pretty hard for several years between 2012, 2013, and up to 2015 to negotiate compliance order consent, which what that is you have a CDO on the plant. Basically, CDPHE says you have to do something about this, and you're on notice, and you're being fined. And the compliance order and consent, what that is an agreement between Woodman Hills and CDPHE to resolve the problems. Because the problems were not inherent in, say, operations or whatever. They were inherent in the plant, the old plant. So that compliance order and consent, or COC, as you'll hear me state, the completion of that really was a big turning point for Woodman Hills to really kind of move forward. So with that, you got the compliance order and consent. That sets out, meet all of these goals. So in that COC, you have several what we call compliance points, or they're all interim points that you will do this by this date, you will do this by this date, and so on and so forth. The new discharge permit was issued for the facility at the same time, and it also contained a group of compliance documents, not only on the plant, but on a few other things as well. There were 17 compliance dates between those two documents. So obviously at each of those points you do certain things or you have to complete the tasks that are on that line getting that new plant built. In 2016, you heard, I don't have to go over that one again, you finally got funding, so that's when really design kicked in and everything else. So we were obviously involved heavily at Team's right hand in those efforts for the state to get you from CDO to a COC so that you really could move forward. And this was obviously a big turning point. That was even one of your compliance dates, was assuring them that you had your funding in place. Final plans and specifications for the facility were completed in late 2016. Those were submitted to the state. I'm not going to go into this because we're just going to be here all night if I do, but you have a whole numerous set of permits that get up to that. So it's not like you get a permit for plant. It's a whole set of permits. So I'm going to, at least for tonight, be a bit brief and a bit simplify that a little bit. Another day when you get down in the weeds, we'll do that. But nevertheless, so by May of 2017, the state had approved all of the plans and specifications to go ahead. I think it actually occurred in April. But in May of 2017, you went bid, open bids, and RN Civil Construction was awarded the plant project for a bid of $11.41 million. And we say construction commenced in June. That's because the contract was ultimately signed in June. Real construction, hard construction, didn't start until really late July. I mentioned that there were 17 compliance dates. You had met, there's only one date left. We have met every single day to this point, and now we're where we are is what the last one that's out there, which is known as the compliance date. And upon that compliance date, you will have fulfilled all of the terms of the COC, all of the terms of the CDO, and the NOV, all the other actions that obviously happen with respect to this. So, okay, I'll back up one. So once we hit this, so obviously the team up to this point, up to May, pretty much the district, ADS, but as of after May, obviously RN Civil becomes the main partner, and they're the actual construction company, and they take over responsibility for all means and methods of construction from that date. We still have a role. Obviously the district still has a strong role, we still have a strong role. But they become your primary partner from that point on. So you've met 16, we have one to go. And we're probably going to push that, but we'll get that down. We'll get that a little later. So progress. For about 5,000 cubic yards of concrete. That's the equivalent of 500 trucks, not counting the ones that we sent back to the batch plant because they didn't meet specs. And by the way, these pictures are somewhat chronological. So as you go through, you'll see that a lot of these are pretty old. We threw them in here anyway. They start from about as old as like 8 months ago as we go forward. But I did that as we progressed until we get actually a couple pictures of where we are today. Go ahead. 800 tons of reinforcing steel, just to get an idea of what goes into this thing. That's a lot of steel, guys. Go ahead. 95% of the excavation has been completed. Roughly 40,000 cubic yards of cut. Backfill is 80% complete. You're starting to see in here that I'm starting to show you a little bit more, getting a little closer to where we are today. And you see in this one, you can see some of the building steel going up. A lot of dirt. Of course, I know you guys live out here, and you know what you call it, mountain, wastewater, or whatever. It's going to look like a mountain out there. The majority of the treatment piping, main electrical, secondary, primary conduits, all installed. You're starting to see, this is starting to get a little closer to where we are today. And then the backfill is coming up. You know, you can see around tankage, superstructure is all skinned in. It's